Hi, and welcome back to, this channel where I'm now posting the third chapter of that story I was doing, which is That One Last Ride. If you already know which one it is, because, I have a few videos, so I think it's the only thing I'm doing here. And, I wanted to start the story. I wrote the third chapter some time ago, but I had some compromises for which I was more delayed and had some troubles. I'm sorry for that, and I know I'm trying to keep this as soon as possible, as it's just me writing and then narrating what I like. Anyhow, I don't want to make this video extra long, and of course, I don't want you to simply, distract yourself and think I'm kind of some, what's the word, um, such a lonely, boring guy, you know, a lonely, boring guy. I'm just trying to tell a story. If you like it, and that's what I'm trying to do. So for anything, if you have any comments on the way I speak and my tone or anything alongside the idea of this story, you are free to comment and tell me so I can improve my craft because I really want to do this better and narrate my stories better because as I always say, it's different just writing a story than narrating it. There is people who can narrate it amazingly and others who can write amazingly, but it's difficult to do both sometimes because you know sometimes it's the emotion of the writer, sometimes it's the lack of practice. It's something like that, and I really want to do it with proper quality because I love my story and I want to do it right for the characters in there. I believe that's a good feeling. I think so. Anyhow, let's get right down to it. If we shall, we will go to That One Last Ride, chapter 3. And here it is, chapter 3. Time for explaining. Last time I was lost in my thoughts of despair and riding the same cursed vehicle which made me part of this mess for what I understood, and if I was not mistaken, also at the verge of insanity. After leaving that playground on the Vespa, awaiting for its new rider, wondering how could I change what I had brought down upon me, recover my family and loved ones from the void of forgetfulness where they lied now without noticing my existence at the most basic level even, I found myself being driven by the machine, moved by it as natural as water flows, as the air I breathe, and then suddenly the apparition of snow and leaves falling and petals of flowers and mountains and sea and monuments all moving around me at a steady but accelerated pace, while myself unprotected was unaffected by this extreme travel and the vision I was experiencing, like tracing the world in a small road, no longer than the main street of my home to the extent that I knew it. Confusion was my first reaction, but then, even during this dreadful time, strangely enough, some instinct in me just calmed me down in the peace of that road made of wind and wonder as the tires were rolling down and the engine roared muffled by the passing clouds and airwaves. By the end of that journey across more places that I had seen in my young life, I found myself once again in front of the man of the hat and the golden axe, at the roof of a building high off the ground enough to make you rethink the work of gravity.
You have finally arrived. Training starts now.
He said to me, but I tried to interrupt him to ask about what's going on with me and my parents and the people I knew.
Train now, and I will answer your dumb doubts. Then, you pitiful maggot.
He screamed at me to force me into this regimen of this newfound life of mine, which showed no particular direction for me to land on. And I'm supposed to. I was asking before he pushed me from this building to fall several stores, more than 30 for what I know, screaming and thinking I was gone for good now. And then the bike came under me and lifted me on top of the road of the building at incredible speed. While I was recovering myself from this shock in my brain and soul, he explained to me,
Lesson 1. You are now bonded to the black saddle. If you are doomed, so it's the saddle. So it will keep your measly soul alive, no matter what.
"Are you some kind of psychopath?" I asked, angry now as my rage overcame my fear. And as I pointed at him, the chain and the plate from my arm went from the number 3 tattooed in my arm straight for his face. Surprised by the event, that didn't stop him from casually catching that object chained to me like a common frisbee. And then he grabbed it and jumped from the roof of the building this time. I was still attached to this lunatic as he did that, and I felt it pulling from me, the grinding of the metal against the weight of my arm exerting force to not fall with this guy. The chain starts to enlong the more I try to stay. I don't want to fall until at that point I feel I cannot extend any longer. My arm gets tired, I get sweaty, and the fall keeps happening. I'm hanging by my life. As I was not entirely depending on the vehicle, I grounded my feet and tried to not pull, to not get pulled by this, to pull this back up with both hands, my breath breaking in heavy and drowsy inhalations, and my exhausted being was pulling with every last ounce of will I could have for the sake of my survival. And at that moment, the chain started to fastly and almost unstoppable with force of unthinkable source to retracting me. When the journey of this element ends and I feel the recoil of it, I feel and roll back to the center of the roof of the building as the man in the hat just casually stood back on top with a small skip, loosening his grasp on the plate at the end.
Lesson 2. Know how much you want and can extend the scale. Control it, or you will die, no doubt. And for the record, your distance is a disgrace. Before you, there was a man who rode the black saddle and could extend his chain across the ocean with no sweat. But you disgraceful waste of meat could only manage about 850 meters before reaching the point of fainting.
I got a new question among the insults. There were more apart from you and me. I got growled back.
Answers at the end, you horrible excuse for a horseman.
So I simply shut up, recovering my breath, face up, covered in sweat and dirt on top of that building, waiting for the next lesson. I assume he did not force me to die from shock cause something between him and the bike was up, so I was stuck in a position he could make me reach my limits, but not kill me intentionally through them. Deep inside I was troubled and frustrated. Since that night, near the Banfield Sports Club, I just keep getting question after question, but no answer. I only fear for my life and pain in places I never knew I could suffer. Pondering my own existence over the tragedy I was living, I get dragged on top of the bike for the next lesson.
Now serious things will come your way. Try not to die in a ridiculous manner for the sake of everything you hold dear.
I heard as the bike took off, and I found myself with this man on top of a cathedral and of a balcony, where I could hear muttering French from down below. He never spoke it, but I knew the tone and vocal exercises. There was a window of very decorated colorful glass which he told me to look through. I know I was not supposed to be something you could see through but a decoration, but strangely enough I could see. I saw the glittering shapes apart from the stones of this cathedral, and down below, a lot below the ground level, I got dizzy. I saw a different glitter in tones I could not differentiate in entire human shape as a strong shadow clinging to a point where the glitter was colliding. I fell back in the big hands of the harsh and always furious big guy. He asked for what I saw. I just told him what I saw and felt, and his grasp in my arm got a lot stronger with rage. He dropped my ass in the back of the Vespa and said,
Lesson 3. Your eyes can see through the lies, through the people, and through the world for what they essentially are. Life, death, good, evil, people, and not people. The shadow among the glittering reflection in your eyes. That's not good, and a terrible first encounter, which will most likely tear your limbs apart and melt your guts while you scream for mercy. And it's your fourth lesson.
he said as he went in the bike among the stone, the floor, the people, the statues, columns, and the inside of the ground like if we were ghosts passing by. And at the deepest point in the cathedral, a big circle, drawn in blood, was being casted. Chants echoed in a stinky catacomb, filled with the smell of rotting flesh, incense, and sulfur. There was something also in the air. I heard, there he is coming. Get ready. I stopped in fear to get a reading of this situation. What's coming? Where are we? Why can't you do something about that since I'm the amateur maggot here for whatever this is? He only looked at me with a condescending smile, with those yellow teeth and shining golden balls for eyes, white as ever under that hat, and just said,
You sat on the saddle, so now you are the one who has to deal with it. It's the rules.
I got the air of being sent in a suicidal mission, for whatever reason could there it be. And then I hear the screams of those chanting as a flare of great altitude crossing through steel and stone ignited high, burning everything in a vertical direction, and claws made of bone slowly covering in disgusting flesh, and nerve and skin grasped the hooded figures involved in this ritual of no idea what, and they got their bodies separated and squeezed into pieces which then crawled like worms of muscle, tissue, and intestines to the center of the column of fire. And in the dark, after the flame, there was an interval where a shadow covered whatever came out of the damn fire, which then got illuminated by the fire on top of the tunnel to the surface the previous light show created. In front of me, a horrible beast of pestilent and purulent flesh with scales and fur intertwined in a grotesque manner, 9 glowing red eyes encompassed in a circular pattern on a face similar to that of a piranha of the National Geographic, with the horns of a bull, extended a long tongue, drooling with a horrible liquid which melted the stone where it tripped. A huge monstrosity of 7 feet tall hunched in his gorilla kind of stance, and white as at least 5 mature men was standing before me, and then the light flickered again, but the beast was no more. In its place there lay a calmly standing bald man with pierced ears, a common shirt and jeans, but with irritated eyes covered by sunglasses. I knew that man and the beast were one and the same. My eyes could not let me be deceived even if I wished for it, to be ignorant of what happened.
There is a demon crossing back the border to the land of man, and has already taken souls to look human enough. Lesson 4. Slay it before it gets away from this place.
And as he said those words, I got smashed against a wall with tremendous force. I felt my bones cracking on my sides, not enough to break them, but enough to make them feel stingy against my inner muscle. And walking slowly towards me is this terrible smelling darkness and cold musky air. Among that I saw a pair of red increasing to 9 eyes as the shadows covered the bald man. I was holding my side feeling like I would fall apart at any second in this darkness where I knew the monster had the upper hand. The taste of blood and barf had made its way, mixed through my mouth, mixed with my saliva after the heat filled me. No answers, yet no feeling other than the need to stay alive keeping me and my senses alert as the demon, which was my demise to me personally, was approaching, a helpless prey for whatever demons do with fools like me. I will catch my breath again later, so I can tell every detail of the last lesson I had in the shadows when we meet again. That if you are still not afraid to hear what comes to me and the misfortune of my very being. And that wraps it up, the third chapter of That One Last Ride. Hope you like it, and I truly hope well, you like my narrating. I'm doing my best, and this chapter had a lot more of dialogue from the man in the hat, and really hurts a bit. uh, hurts a little bit, so I will work on that. After all, I try to make something of quality to narrate this story, which to me deserves to be narrated in a suitable manner. Well, with that being said, I hope you like the tale, and any idea or any comment or anything you want to say about how I narrate, how I write, or whatever, just comment it and let me know. All feedback is welcomed, and I mean, it helps me improve my craft, which I really love. Thanks for everything, and I hope you make your own stories too. Hope you find tales that inspire you and can inspire others. And as you have those ideas or create those worlds and creatures and people, as long as your heart is within it, I wish you a good journey. And well, thanks for hearing me babbling about the story. I just try to keep going. See you around.